Hey there, Hofstra fans, and welcome to the very first edition of the W. Mason Coach Report. All season long, we'll be talking with the head coach of the Hofstra Pride Field Hockey team, Kathy De Angelis. I'm Dan Savarino. Now, Coach, 6 days into practice so far. Camp just started last week. How's it been?
Well, we've had a great week of preseason. Really excited as to where the team is right now. Fitness, we're dealing with a few preseason injuries, which could be due a little bit to the fitness, but overall, we came back real prepared for preseason.
Well, let's look at last year's team, where the team was so young. You came in so many different freshmen. Some played some big roles, but how you come into this year, you're going to lose a couple of big veteran presence, and the veteran presence that you have there. Back in net with Kathy De Angelis and then Stephanie Coles, your two starters, the only two starters end up losing. What are you going to miss the most about those two?
Well, their experience. Number one, losing a goalkeeper, a starter goalkeeper of Caitlin's caliber is huge. And we've got two freshmen who have to really step into where she left off. And it's not going to be easy, and it's not going to happen in preseason. It's not going to happen in the first few weeks. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some time for those guys to gain some experience and gain some confidence. So that's a big loss with Kathy De Angelis. Steph Coles was a consistent starter for us all 4 years. And when you lose a player who's played that many minutes, she's led by example. And so that's a tough loss, or a real tough loss for us. But we've got the backline back, and they are young. They're a year older, and so we should have a little more experience than we did last year.
You mentioned some of the backline coming back, and they are young. And you're bringing back a player, and we'll start going with some of the preseason all-conference players. You have Janelle Boileau, Stella Shern, who's another freshman. Janelle obviously has been here and been a starter for the last 4 years, but on the backline of the preseason, honorable mention, and Carissa Whitmer. Carissa, she came in, played that center back role all season, and really stood up. Was it really much of a surprise for you coming into camp last year where she would end up finishing off?
Well, we knew that we knew about Carissa for several years. We've been recruiting her since way before sophomore year, so I've watched her over the years. What she did for our season last year absolutely was a little bit of a surprise. I mean, she had such a breakout year in her first year. She exceeded all our expectations. She continued to grow and really became just the backbone of our defense. And for her just to be a sophomore right now, named honorable mention, that's just a credit to the season she had last year.
When you look at some of the strikers for this team, obviously Janelle Boileau, she has led your team in scoring the last 2 years, somebody who each and every year has been one of the tops in the conference, there's no question about it. And then you add somebody like Stella Shern. With those two in that combination, how deadly was it, and where did you see them grow in the chemistry between the two?
Yeah, well, they clicked. They clicked very early, really early in the season last year. And the great thing about that is that the chemistry got stronger and stronger. And just having Stella join Janelle last year, I think overall those two players, we've got two other players, Lauren Devaya and Claudia Samper, who are also phenomenal players, and all four of them, we're going to have a very strong line with them. But Janelle is our leader on this team, and she has led the team in scoring. Since she's been here. In the last 2 years, she's been on top of the CA and certainly top of Hofstra. But what Janelle gives to this team is she leads by example, and she's able to work with any player that comes on the line with her. So even if it doesn't necessarily have to be Stella, it could be Lauren, it could be Claudia. I mean, we have a number of players that can go on that line, but with ease. It's very easy to work with her. She's demanding, and we want her to be, but she leads by example, and she's earned that respect. So those players, the young guys, look up to her.
Well, you mentioned about leading by example, and now she has been named the captain of this team for this season. Holly Andrews and Charlotte Lair, who was the captain last year, are the vice captains for this year. Are you happy with the way it was voted on by the team, and that those are the three you're going to look to as captains?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Each one of those players could stand alone as the head captain. I'm happy at Janelle. She's done such a great job, and she has, for the team and for the coaching staff, she has amazing loyalty. And, you couldn't ask for a better captain. Charlotte was a captain for us last year, and she's been a leader since she got here, even at a young age. As far as she's a little bit older coming in, a year older coming in, but just being a junior now and to be named captain back to back just shows the leadership that she has and what the players think of her. And Holly Andrews, she is one of the most vocal leaders, and you absolutely need that. You need the communication. She's one of the top communicators on her team, and this team does not click without Holly. So super excited that she was named one of the three captains, and I think all three of them are going to do a fantastic job.
Well, let's look at that midfield. That's really where you bring back the most veteran presence for this season. Martha Painhouse has been a starter pretty much every game that she's been here. Charlotte Lair being another one. Holly Andrews, you're expecting her in obviously a defensive role in the midfield, maybe moving back to D. Jillian Kirkpatrick comes back for another season. Emily Gallagher. Where do you see this coming into camp, and how have you seen them grow over the course of the last year?
Well, the midfield, we do have, with Marta being in there, Charlotte, okay, these guys are two senior, well, Charlotte's a junior, but we have two upperclassmen in that midfield line, which is their leadership and experience is what's really going to push this midfield line. We've got some young players who, as you said, Emily Gallagher, now Holly's going to be, we're looking at her now in the back line a little bit, but she has that versatility. Jillian Kirkpatrick, who also has versatility on the back line. They had got a number of minutes last year, and we started 6 freshmen on average last year. So, even though they're young, we need them to step up. Step up, and they've got to be ready right away. But they've had a great preseason so far, and I think the experience in that line is really going to help us out this year.
Well, back in goal is going to be obviously the youngest part of this team. Kara Swan comes in, she's just a freshman, and then Lauren Saltis, who was here the past year, is going to be a redshirt freshman. Who are you looking towards right now to possibly be the starting goalkeeper?
Well, it's still very early right now. They are very different goalkeepers, and so technically and tactically, they have different things to offer. I think it'll be very interesting because our scrimmage this week, and they're both going to platoon and goal. And right now they're competing at a very high level, and we haven't had one emerge just yet. As far as the start goes, I think we still got some time before that to happen, and we've got another week or so of preseason. But they're doing a great job. I feel comfortable with both of them in goal right now, and we'll make that decision come game time. Really, probably 2 or 3 days, well, maybe 1 or 2 days before game time, for who we're going to start. But really happy where they're going right now.
Well, last question for you, Coach. This weekend you do have a scrimmage. It's the first time you get to really see some game action against Siena. They come down here. What do you want to get out of that the most?
Well, we've got to test some players in some different positions. We need to see where our structure is, and we're going to see what players work well together. One of the great things about this team is we have fantastic chemistry on and off the field. What we need to be able to test is in the ups and downs and the tough times, can this young team come back and can we maintain this type of chemistry? So I think that what we're really looking for is, one, we want to come out with that chemistry working together right from the start. And on our end, the coaching staff is we're going to test some players out in some different positions and see what's clicking, what's not, where our holes are and where our strengths are, and try to get this lineup together before the Albany weekend.
The head coach of the Hofstra Pride Field Hockey Team, Kathy De Angelis. I'm Dan Savarino. We'll catch you next week for another edition of the WB Mason Coaches Report.